Hi and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Cassia. On this channel we discuss all aspects of the Ascension process. I have a variety of different services that I offer to assist you in your awakening journey. So if you are interested in checking those out, they are listed in the description box below. Today we're going to be doing the astrological forecast for the week of the 14th through the 21st of August 2020. And what a dynamic week this is going to be. There is so much fiery energy in the air. I'm sure you guys have felt it. These placements and aspects that I'm going to be talking about, like these planets have been moving into aspect throughout the week that we're in right now and will continue to be within that energy throughout next week. So a lot of these energies we have been feeling, and I'm sure that it's been intense for a lot of you, as it has been intense for me and also for a lot of the people in my life. We have the sun right now conjunct Mercury in Leo. And so this makes this energy pretty much larger than life, right? Leo energy is larger than life already. It's grandiose, it's over the top, it's dramatic, it's charismatic, it's adventurous, right? And so when we combine our mind with our consciousness and with our perception of ourselves and the way that we're perceived in the world, that's just a whole lot of Leo energy coming out. And so this can be a beautiful thing when we're using this energy to express ourselves. Although when Mercury and the sun are so close together, sometimes this actually inhibits our ability to communicate. So we want to be cautious of that and just really take that into note and take that into consideration, that there may be times where we miscommunicate without meaning to. Like, we're so passionate and we have so much that we want to say and we want to express, but it's possibly not coming out the way that we intend. So we want to be careful with that. We also want to be careful that we're not making promises that maybe we're not going to be able to fulfill later on. With all of this grandiose energy, like, we're feeling so empowered, we're feeling so passionate, and we may really want to promise things to people, to have these conversations where we're kind of embellishing because we have this idea of ourselves that may not be 100% realistic. And so we want to look at that and we want to make sure that we're going to be able to walk our talk after this week is over. We also want to watch out for becoming a little bit too self-centered. Leo energy is beautiful. It's that heart-centered energy, right? Like, I love Leos. I have so many amazing Leos in my life. However, the downside of Leo, or one of the downsides of Leo, can be this sort of like, you know, they like to be center stage. They like to be seen. They like to be heard. But doing that to the detriment of others, or feeling the need to be heard over others, or just not really considering others at all. And so this can be an area where we may become a bit self-centered. We may be so caught up in thoughts about ourselves and what it is that we want and what it is that we need. And that whole thing of like speaking, like when we're having conversations with people, just waiting for our turn to speak instead of listening to what they have to say. So we want to be really careful and wary of that and just take that into consideration. But really have fun with this energy and how you can express yourself. We have the sun also trining Mars in Aries, which just adds to this fire energy, right? Adds to this empowering energy, this passionate energy. And so we have the opportunity this week to really shine for the things that make us who we are, and to be really willing and able to express that and to have that noticed by other people. So that's a really beautiful thing, and we can really hop onto that energy and utilize that to our advantage. If there's an area where we're wanting to be seen and heard, where we're needing that sort of word of mouth, or we're needing that recognition, this can be a great way to really like tap into the potentiality of that energy. I don't know if potentiality is actually a word. I think it's kind of not, but I really love it, so I use it. But yes, so this can be a great way to utilize that energy. We just want to be careful that we don't fall into any of those other pitfalls. This is, however, with this sun trining Mars, like in Aries, a beautiful healing and harmonization with our masculine energies. We've really been working a lot lately at healing those masculine energies. And this goes for both men and women because we all have a masculine and a feminine essence within us. And so one of the keys in life is the balancing of those two polarities or those two energies, right? So our divine masculine has been going through a lot of healing lately. And this is sort of like an area where we're seeing and we're recognizing some of the progress that we have made as far as that's concerned. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, we also have some super aggressive squares going on right now between Mars and Jupiter, Mars and Saturn, and Mars and Pluto. That's right, Mars is squaring all three of these planets as they are so close together. And the square with Jupiter is going to get a little looser, and that's not going to be as much of an energy as the week goes on. But those squares with Pluto and Saturn are going to be pretty heavy and consistent throughout the week. And we've been feeling that already. And so this is really our masculine energy, our Aries I am energy, being challenged and being pushed. So we're seeing and we're coming up against anything that is a block to our empowerment, right? Squares are those tense aspects that really challenge us and push us out of our comfort zone. And so we may feel like we're coming up against these blocks when it comes to different things that stand in the way of our empowerment and stand in the way of us being able to fully actualize ourselves in the world the way we want to. So we're looking at Saturn, we're looking at structures, whether these are belief structures within ourselves, whether these are outer structures in our lives. With the Capricorn energy, whether this is like authority figures and the different structures in the larger world that have been created. Any of these things that we feel are sort of impeding our progress and our ability to really actualize ourselves and step into that energy and exert our will on the world. And then with Pluto, we're looking at the aspects of our own subconscious that are blocking us. Where are these shadow aspects that are still in the background, affecting the way that we behave, affecting the way that we think, affecting the way that we speak, affecting the way that we carry ourselves in the world and the way we're able to actually step out and be that dynamic force in the world that we want to be? Where are these power struggles going on? We have this heavy energy of power struggles, and like, how do I conduct myself during that? How do I keep from giving my power away? Where have I given my power away, and where am I now ready to take that back? And we're really being pushed to take that back. We're looking at, with Jupiter, once again, a deeper look at those belief systems, a deeper look at our faith. Do I have faith in myself? Do I have faith in my ability to accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish? Do I have faith in my dreams? All of these energies, our sexuality is being highlighted. Any issues when it comes to that, when it comes to our comfortability expressing that, when it comes to our power around that, all of that is coming up for review. And on top of all of that, we also have Venus squaring Chiron right now. And Chiron is in retrograde. So this is that energy. This is more energy having to do with our wounds around empowerment, our wounds around our ability to express and assert ourselves. And we're looking at this where relationships are involved, right? With Venus. This is Venus in Cancer. So that's like our Venus in Cancer is the lover. She wants to mother. She wants to nurture. She wants everything to be beautiful. She wants everyone to get along. She wants harmony. She's very sensitive, right? Very empathetic. So we're looking at that aspect of ourselves, squaring off against that aspect of ourselves that is like ready to put themselves out there in the world, that's ready to blaze that trail, that's ready to make no apologies and do the things that need to be done to get the things that we want, right? So that's the energy of Aries, which is the sign that Chiron is in. So we have that, and we have this struggle where it's like we've been healing and stepping into those aspects of ourselves. And now that's sort of battling with this part of ourselves that wants to nurture and wants to be in relationship and wants that harmony. And so it's like wounds may be coming up for people around relationships, around their empowerment, around all of these different things and those aspects of themselves. Like, how can I be giving and loving without being a doormat? without being walked all over? How can I claim my power and assert myself in the world, but still have loving and harmonious relationships with the people that I care about? And sort of that back and forth as well. So a lot of these energies coming up. Like this week is all about this month, really. And really, to take it even further, the entire second half of 2020, as we have Mars going retrograde, we have all of this Mars energy going on. This is what we're being asked to do. And this week, throughout 2020, and this week is like really bringing down the hammer. It's where we're really going to feel these energies. We really want to take notice of what's going on with us right now, what we're experiencing, what's coming up, where we're being challenged, because we will continue to revisit these things, and we will continue to fine-tune this energy and our ability to find our voice, to stand our ground, to stand in our power. All of that, like that is the themes that are coming up right now within this past week, this coming week, this month in general, are going to be themes that are going to be translating throughout the rest of this year. So I cannot emphasize enough, really pay attention to what's going on. Really pay attention to the way that you're acting, the way that you're reacting, the ways that you're being triggered, the ways that you're being asked to step up. And really, you want to act in your highest ideal for yourself. You really want to look at, like, what is the kind of person that I want to be? How does this person move in the world, right? What does this person do? What does this person say? How does this person respond to situations? And this is our opportunity to really step into that role and fine-tune those energies throughout the rest of this year so that we can learn how to become that person. Yes. So that is all of that. And now, what else do we want to know? Yes. So we have Venus sextiling Uranus this week as well. And this is an interesting energy. What makes it even more interesting is that Uranus is stationing on the 16th and going retrograde on the 17th. And so Uranus retrograde will probably be a completely different video, but this is going to be another aspect which really ties in well with the Mars retrograde that's coming up and everything we're feeling with the Mars energy, because Uranus is that energy of rebellion. It's that side of us that does not bow down to any authority except our own. That part of us that thinks more cosmically, right? That thinks outside the box, that's inventive, that ingenious side of us. So we're going to be looking at where we hold ourselves back in those areas and how it is that we express or don't express that rebellious side of us and what that actually looks like and what that actually means to us. So the fact that Uranus is beginning this retrograde in a sextile with Venus, I think kind of shows us some other aspects that we're going to be dealing with as far as this Uranus retrograde goes. So we have this Venus and Cancer energy, where Venus it's that soft, nurturing, loving, mothering kind of energy, right? We want to feel safe in our relationships. We want to feel secure in our relationships. We want to feel seen and understood and heard, and like seen on a soul level, not seen on a physical level. Like Cancer wants to go deeper than that. Cancer is intuitive. Cancer is psychically connected. Cancer is about more than what meets the eye, more than what's on the surface. And so we're really looking for those deep, emotionally safe relationships right now. And then we have Uranus, which is that energy of rebellion, that energy of kind of like Uranus is sort of like the big middle finger, right? And so we have that energy, but Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. And in the sign of Taurus, Uranus's rebellion is much more strategic and much more slow and methodical. So Uranus in an earth sign, in this case in Taurus, is really kind of playing the long game in a lot of ways. It wants rebellion, and it wants freedom, and it wants that manifested physically in a way that it can see, in a way that really shows that to people, right? That is mapped out in the physical world. It wants a plan for that, right? It wants the stability of that, the peace of that. And so, yeah, it's an interesting interplay of energies, because these energies are working together, they're complementing each other, and they're stimulating each other. So we're looking at like we want these beautiful, nurturing, safe, supportive relationships, and we want that same relationship with ourselves, right? But we also want things to be, we're looking outside the box a little bit. We're not necessarily like, there's not one way that this has to look. I know what I want love to feel like. I know what I want my partnerships to feel like. I know what I want my relationship with myself to feel like. But what that looks like all of a sudden now we're realizing doesn't have to be the way that we always thought it needed to be. We're able to take that Uranian look of like that perspective of looking outside the box a little bit, seeing how we can shift things, seeing how we can arrange things, right, in a way that's conducive to giving us that support and giving us that security, but also giving us that freedom. How can I be free and secure at the same time, right? The $1 million question. And so that's kind of like what we're looking at and what we're thinking about during this Uranus retrograde, and definitely during this sextile that we have going on right now between Venus and Uranus, is just all those different aspects of what that looks like. Can I also be secure enough in my relationship to truly express who I am, right? Like Uranus wants true, authentic expression of self, right? It's the ruler of Aquarius. So think about that Aquarian energy. How can I be who I really am, be seen for who I really am, but also like be secure and safe when it comes to my interactions with myself and with other people? And Uranus energy is also asking us to really take up the social causes, to really think about the collective, right? And what matters for the collective, what's important for the collective. And Venus in Cancer is very much that feeling energy. So we're going to be really thinking about that as well, and how our actions impact the collective. What kind of relationship do we have with the collective energy? And is that relationship supportive? And really kind of branching out and just seeing and understanding the way that all of our intimate relationships, also like how we have these intimate relationships, but then we also have this cosmic relationship with the rest of humanity. And like, what are our dreams and aspirations for that? And how do we bridge all of that together? It's very interesting energy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super into it. So we have the new moon happening on the 18th or the 19th, depending on where you are in the world. And there's going to be a separate video. I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video about the new moon. But you can see sort of like what we're building up to as we talk about these energies right now, because a lot of these energies are going to be the energies during the new moon. So we'll have some more specific placements that are unique. I don't typically go too much into the moon placements in the weekly astrology because the moon changes signs every 3 days and it's constantly making different aspects. So like that will influence us on a day-to-day basis, but it's not an overriding energy that's going to, it's not as significant because it happens so quickly. That's why when we talk about especially the outer planets, those energies are felt so much more like it's more pronounced, the way that we experience those, because we're experiencing them for a longer period of time. They're more gradual, they build, and then we have the climax of that energy, and then we feel it dissipate. With the moon, it's kind of in and out, but when we have the new moon and the full moon, we definitely will focus more on the aspects that the moon is making. It definitely is of note that the moon is going to be on Virgo on the 20th, as Mercury also enters Virgo. So that's a moon placement that I think is definitely noteworthy, because on that day we're going to be, I see it sort of as like this day where we have all of this crazy chaotic energy going on, and then the moon and Mercury are both in this sign, in this very logical, analytical sign, right? But that's going to be helpful for us, I think, because it's going to help us to make sense of a lot of the stuff that's been going on. And it's really going to aid us in our communication skills, because we have this passionate, grandiose communication, like this dramatic communication style and way of thinking when we have Mercury in Leo, right? And so Mercury goes into Virgo, and this is a sign where Mercury is very, very comfortable, because Mercury rules Virgo. And so Virgo is like that's the energy that Mercury likes to be in, because it thinks very strategically. It's really able to analyze and to put everything together and to connect the dots. And it's intuitive in its own way, but it's also very grounded in reality, right? Virgo is a very interesting sign because it's an earth sign that's ruled by an air planet. So I think that's really going to help us to get some perspective and get some understanding and kind of put the pieces into place. And if there's a day where you need to have a conversation with someone, the 20th may be a good day to do that. Like if you have a lot that feels like it's bubbling up under the surface that you really want to express, wait until Mercury goes into Virgo. You want to, with the moon in Virgo as well, that day is going to have its own challenges, just because moon in Virgo is not very emotional in its communication style. Like, you may be a bit overly logical when you communicate with people, but if logic is something that is necessary for you to have, if you need to be very clear-headed and very concise when you're talking to someone and really not let emotions get in the way, then that's a really great day to have that conversation. It is interesting to note, however, that the moon is going to be trining Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter that day, which is good because that's a positive relationship, a positive, benevolent, beneficial relationship that it's having to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, which, trines are great. And it's also going to be opposing Neptune, though. So, yeah, that makes it even more logical because it's opposing the planet of mysticism. It's like we're really cutting through all of the illusion. We're going to say it like it is. And a lot of people will probably be in the mood to hear it like it is, just because they're being affected by this energy too. So if you need to have a nuts and bolts conversation with someone that's very focused on common sense, that doesn't pull a lot of excessive emotion into the situation, then that's a good day to do it. That was a really long, wordy way of saying that. If Mercury were in Virgo right now, I would have said that much more concisely than that. But you guys get the point. It's the moon, so our emotions, which are a bit more collected and a bit less all over the place with this Virgo energy, are trining these planets, these huge transformational planets. So it's sort of like we're getting a little break there as well, where it's not as emotionally charged. Like they're still challenging us to grow. We're still facing everything that we're facing, but we're a little less choked up about it. But we're able to really pull in and understand intuitively the lessons that we're learning from that and employ that in our communication style, I feel like. So yeah, 20th, good day for communication. Just make sure you're not coming off overly cold when you do say the things that you need to say. Plan them now with Mercury and Leo, and then fine tune them and sort of pull out the fluff when Mercury goes into Virgo. Yeah, I think that's really the main energies that we want to go over as far as all of this goes. Like I said, there'll be a video on the new moon. There'll be a video on Uranus retrograde, which is going to be very exciting. I was going to do a video with the Chiron retrograde, but I haven't decided yet because with the Mars in Aries and Mars going retrograde and having been conjunct Chiron, I feel like there's just so many of the planets are just coming together right now to really do the same thing, which is heal those wounds around our empowerment, around finding our voice, really get us to step into our power. And I've seen that happening for people so powerfully in the past month, really, and definitely in the past few weeks, that it's been like, it's just something amazing to witness, you guys. Okay, so the first card out was Full Moon, Surrender to the Divine. So somebody's being asked to surrender here. We're all being asked to surrender here in some aspect of our lives, right? Like all of this energy, we want to move. We want to make these moves with Mars and Aries, right? But we're feeling blocked by all of these squares. And we're trying to figure out, like, how do I overcome these things, right? Like, how do I move past this? Okay, I'm seeing. I still have fears that need to be worked on. I still have insecurities. I still have things in my physical world that I feel are blocking me from achieving my goals. And we're, like, getting frustrated and we're wanting to bulldoze through all of that right now. But we're being asked to step back and surrender. And know that, like, just do the work. Whatever is coming up right now, really pay attention to it. Really do the work around that. Really see a lot of these blocks that we think are blocks aren't really blocks at all. They're just opportunities and challenges that are showing us an area where we need to grow in order to step into the person that we're becoming and to step onto the path that we're getting ready to walk. So really just see those as blessings instead of challenges, and just surrender. If there are areas where you're not able to move forward right now, just surrender to that and have faith in your dreams. Know that, like, if there are obstacles in your path right now, it does not mean that your dreams are not going to come true. It just means not right now. It means that it's time to reevaluate. It's time to really look at things. It's time to make sure that you really know what you want. And this is kind of like a test from the universe too. And I don't mean this in a bad way. I just mean, like, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to do the work now that you see the things that need to change, the adjustments that need to be made so that you can reach your goal? Are you ready to put the work into that? And are you ready to bring spirit into that equation? Because spirit, we talk about this all the time. Like, spirit can move mountains for us if we allow it to. But we have to allow it to. And sometimes first, we have to surrender. Sometimes if we put too much focus and too much attention on having something, and especially of that idea of not having it, right? And that frustration of not having it, then that's the energy that we're manifesting, and that's the energy that we're creating. If we are too attached to something, we are effectively blocking it from manifesting because of our attachment to it. So we have to relax our grip a little bit. So when this comes to manifesting as well, it's like, just surrender. Surrender to the divine, allow the divine to work out the details, trust and know that some of these perceived blocks are also being put there for your protection. And the ones that are meant to help you learn and grow are going to help you learn and grow, and they'll be removed, or you'll see how to overcome them and move past them when you're meant to. And some of them are there because you're just not supposed to have the thing that you want right now, even though you think that that's the thing that's going to make you happy. It's like, yeah. It may not be for you. It may not be for you right now. You may still have things that you need to learn along the way. So just surrender. Don't try to push open a door that wants to stay closed. But have faith in your dreams. Really have faith in those things that truly inspire you. Like, this is a time to really understand the difference between our wants and our needs, and to understand just, like, what is it that we want, because we've become so addicted to the idea of having it that now it's like, I feel like this is for somebody out there, somebody who's really attached to something that they want, that they think that they need at this point, that they're not going to be happy until they have. But you may not even want that thing anymore. You may just want the idea of it and have totally lost touch with the reality of it. So there may be a reality check coming for somebody around that. Or, yeah. So that's an interesting message coming through for somebody. It's like, check yourself and figure out, like, is this what I really want? And maybe take that thing out of the equation completely and just, like, make a list of what it is. What are your true dreams, right? What are the things that you truly want? What's the way that you want to feel? What is the life that you're wanting to create for yourself? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And once you've created that, plug that thing or that person or that job or whatever it is back into that equation and see, like, does this line up with everything that I want? And if it does, great. If it maybe doesn't, then maybe it's time to let that go and focus on some other things that are more resonant for you right now. And maybe it really does. In that case, like, just surrender for right now, because right now may not be the right time. But know that you are learning the lessons and you are having the growth that you need to have in order to have that thing when it's ready for you. And just for any of you who are just different message here, but any of you that are just really struggling with this blocked energy and this feeling of all of these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, it's like, just continue to have faith. Like, you're being called to have faith right now. You're being called to trust that it's going to work out, even if you don't see how it's going to work out, and just continue to surrender. Just continue to do the next thing that you can do, the next thing that makes sense, the next thing that flows, right? Like, open the door, walk through the door that's open before you, and just trust that the right doors are going to open when it's time for them to open. And just surrender everything that you can't control. Yeah. On the bottom of the deck, what do you need to release? Any other cards here? Nothing is yet set in stone. and a personal issue reaches resolution. So this card's been coming up. This is the full moon in Cancer card. So this has been coming up for a while. So there may be a personal issue that somebody's on here like, man, you keep pulling this card. It's still not resolved. I'm really getting tired of waiting for this issue to resolve itself, right? Like, I've surrendered. I've done all the things that you've said, and like this issue is still an issue and I don't know what to do. So this has all been a process of that, right? And there is just, I mean, I've seen this going on around me in so many different people's lives. Like, these issues are coming up for resolution. And it's as people are learning how to step into their power, how to be a constructive part of that resolution, things are resolving. So for some people, it's like, if you've been sitting back and waiting for a magical resolution to your issue, but you haven't been putting any work into resolving it yourself or taking the steps that need to be taken to help to resolve that, like playing your part in that process, like that's why nothing has been resolved yet. And so yeah, I mean, there are steps that need to be taken as well. Spirit can't do absolutely everything for us. Like, we surrender to the divine, but we still walk the path that's laid out before us. If there's something that somebody's intuitively known that they need to do, a part that they need to play in something, and you've been sitting back and you haven't been doing anything about that, like, it's time to do something about that. To do what you can do in the situation to make things better, to make things smoother. Like, this is new moon in Cancer, or full moon in Cancer. Use your intuition. Use that internal guidance. There is a way to resolve this issue that makes everyone feel safe and supported and secure. It may, like, that will be the end result, at least, even if there is discomfort in the meantime. Like, this is whatever this issue is, I mean, it's a full moon card, so this is an emotionally charged situation, and it's a water card. There's a lot of high energy emotions, and so, like, it may be a little messy initially, but there is a resolution in the end that is peaceful and is beneficial for everyone involved. And we have nothing as yet set in stone. So it's like, this personal issue, like, this can be resolved, but the nothing is yet set in stone to me is just the indicator of actually what I was just talking about, of the fact that, like, there is no determined outcome for this situation. There are a whole bunch of different resolutions, different ways that this issue can resolve. So it's like, that's why you want to take charge of the situation to the best of your ability and to act constructively the way you're being intuitively guided. Because there are tons of different ways that this can be resolved. The way that I just talked about is one of those options. But if we sit back and we do nothing, eventually a situation is resolved for us. And sometimes the way that Spirit comes in and resolves that situation for us is like the Tower card in the Tarot. And we don't necessarily want that. So we want to take the initiative. We want to have, like, we want to be the deciding factor in that. Like, if there's a whole bunch of possibilities, I want to take the constructive action so that I can choose the most fortuitous out of all of those different possibilities. And I feel for some of you, as Mercury enters Virgo, this may become easier for you to figure out, if you haven't figured out how to do that quite yet. And maybe you'll get some insights around the new moon, or really, like, utilize that new moon to put out your intentions and, like, start figuring out that plan of, like, how do I take constructive action here? But yeah, nothing's set in stone. There are so many different possibilities. And I feel like for some of you too, there's this thing, like, you have this idea in your head of how this situation's going to play out if you do the things you think you know you need to do, and you don't want that, so you're sitting back and doing nothing. Know that nothing's set in stone. Like, your perception of what the result of whatever needs to be done is going to be is not necessarily accurate. So you're seeing from one perspective, but there are different perspectives to consider, and there are different possibilities to consider. So don't assume that you know how things are going to go, because you may be pleasantly surprised if you take the action that Spirit is guiding you to take right now. And yeah, we'll do one more. Meditate and contemplate. Spirit's like, no, you're done. You said everything you need to do. Just meditate. Just go meditate and contemplate. Like, the answers will come to you. If you're worried, if you're wondering, this is all you need to do. Spirit's like, you don't even need to watch these videos. All of you guys, if you just meditated every single day and then contemplated and journaled about your meditations and got into that quiet space and really got strict with that program, you wouldn't need any guidance from anyone, because you would be so in tune with your higher self that guidance would just come through. So Spirit's telling you, like, you can allow that to happen as well. Like, you can, if those solutions aren't being presented to you, if you're listening to me talk and you're like, Cassia, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not being guided to take any action. I am so confused right now, and I have no idea which way to go. Meditate and contemplate, and you will find that guidance, and you will find your answers. And then what popped out when I was shuffling, luck is on your side. So I'm actually going to leave it right there for today. I think that was pretty good. You know, we got into the astrology. We got a little extra guidance for some of you guys going through some different situations right now. Drop a comment and let me know how this week's going for you. Let me know what's been challenging, what's been inspiring, what you're really enjoying about the different energies. If you liked this video, give it a like. That definitely helps. Subscribe if you want to catch more videos. I do videos on all different types of topics. We do astrological videos. We're going to be getting into a lot more galactic energy videos, so that's going to be fun. Just all kinds of different stuff that we do on here. The zodiacs, I'll get more horoscopes coming out for you guys soon. Those are still, I'm about partway done with those for the month. Those are going to keep going. So all kinds of things. I have all different services, like I talked about too. If you're interested, I do personal readings. I do energy healing sessions, which are incredibly profound and can be so helpful if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling stuck, if you don't know what to do right now, you're looking for that clarity and you really don't want to meditate or contemplate. Set up a healing session with me, and we can probably work through some of those energies that way. It's kind of like the cheat. Kind of like the life hack is energy healing. That's what I found. Like, I've received such profound healing and clarity, and really like moved forward like years further. Like, if I hadn't done all of the energy work that I've done, it probably would have taken me years to get to the point of peace and to get to the point of understanding and empowerment that I've reached, which I'm still continuing to grow, right? But it's a great shortcut. It's a great way to really fuel and facilitate this process, and to get where you need to be, to get that understanding, to get that insight, to get that healing, to get that motivation. So please reach out to me for that. I do Ascension Astrological charts, where we look at the transiting planets in your chart and what that means for you specifically in your ascension process. So many different things. Check those out. If you want to donate, the links for that are below as well. I love you all. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous week.